I'm Colin Singer, immigration lawyer and managing partner of Immigration.ca. Canada Immigration News Articles, November 2015. Canada announces new immigration policies. Only 1 week since being formally sworn in, the Canadian government revealed important immigration policy changes, which confirm that Syrian refugees will dominate the storyline for the rest of the year. Many of the policy changes were outlined in our previous writing, How the Liberals Can Improve Canada's Immigration Policies. On refugees, the Liberal government's senior-most cabinet ministers will oversee a committee of 9 ministers chaired by Health Minister Jane Philippot, with Heritage Minister Mélanie Joly serving as a vice chair. The committee will oversee the task of bringing 25,000 Syrian refugees to Canada by the end of the year. Immigration and Refugees Minister John McCallum also confirmed the government is working with stakeholders on creating the process for selecting and securing exit permits for refugees. The use of temporary ministerial permits is also being considered. A portion of asylum seekers will be housed on military bases. Ottawa is considering ships, commercial aircraft, or military planes. Air Canada will help with the transportation before the holiday rush and ferrying refugees from neighbouring countries. The Liberals pledged that the 25,000 refugees would be sponsored by the government, with taxpayers covering the first-year costs of resettlement. Other refugee policy announcements include invest $200 million over this fiscal year and next to increase refugee processing, as well as sponsorship and settlement services capacity in Canada. Provide an immediate $100 million in new contribution to the United Nations High Commission for Refugees to support the critical relief activities in the region. Fully restore the interim federal health program. Establish an expert human rights panel for determination of designated countries of origin, and to provide a right of appeal to refugee decisions for citizens from such countries. The panel will include representatives from international human rights groups. And the practice of appointing individuals without subject matter expertise to the Immigration and Refugee Board of Canada. On family reunification policies, the following changes include nearly double the budget for family class immigration processing in order to restore processing times to levels achieved before the Harper decade. Double the number of new applications allowed each year for parents and grandparents from 5,000 to 10,000. Provide greater access to applicants with Canadian siblings by granting additional points under the Express Entry system. Restore the maximum age for dependents to age 22 from 19, which allows Canadians, often live-in caregivers, to bring their children to Canada. Grant immediate permanent residency to new spouses entering Canada rather than imposing a 2-year conditional status that puts spouses, often women, in a position of extreme vulnerability. On citizenship, changes include repeal of the unfair elements of Bill C-24 that create second-class citizens and the provisions that make it more difficult for immigrants to become Canadian citizens. Restoration of temporary residence time credit for foreign students and other temporary residents applying to become Canadian citizens. On Express Entry system, the following policy changes include conducting a full review of the program to ensure processing times are efficient, reviewing Canadian Experience Class to reduce barriers to immigration for international students. Other policies include elimination of the $1,000 Labour Market Impact Assessment fee for families applying for caregivers, removal of visa requirements imposed on Mexican nationals, and phasing out of visa requirements for several other countries. Work with provincial and territorial governments and the banking industry to improve regulation of the foreign remittance industry and reduce transaction fees. And lastly, regulate service providers in the caregiver industry. Interested employers are invited to contact us to receive further information. Interested candidates may complete our free online evaluation.